Alright guys, today we're looking at another video of solving absolute value equations. So I have 4 examples I'm going to cover today, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So to solve absolute value equations, you want to make sure that your absolute value is completely by itself. So like in example 1, how the absolute value is on the left side of the equal sign and nothing else is around it, that's exactly how we need it set up. So what I'm going to do, since the absolute value is by itself, I'm going to take what's inside, which is n minus 9. I'm going to set it equal to positive 6, and I'm also going to set it equal to negative 6. And I'm going to solve each equation for the value of n, and that will give me my 2 answers. To solve for n, the first thing I need to do is add 9 to both sides. And then I have n equals 15. On the right side, I'm also going to add 9 to both sides, same process. And when I solve, I have n equals 3. So those are going to be my 2 answers for that absolute value equation. In example 2, if I look, I notice that my absolute value portion of my equation is not by itself. I have the division sign and then 7. The absolute value of 3 plus x is in the numerator of a fraction, so I need to get rid of the denominator. To get rid of the denominator, I do that by multiplying both sides of the equation by 7. When I do that, the 7's on the left will cancel, and I have the absolute value of 3 plus x is equal to 7. Now I can take that absolute value equation and rewrite it as 3 plus x equals positive 7 and 3 plus x equals negative 7. And I'm going to solve for x. I'm going to start by subtracting 3 from both sides, and I end up with x equals 4. Again, I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides, and I have x equals negative 10. In examples 3 and 4, same deal. My absolute value equation, or my absolute value portion of my equation, needs to be completely by itself. So in example 3, I need to move the negative 10 and the negative 4. Well, if you notice, negative 10 is being multiplied by the absolute value, so I can't move that first. What I have to do is move the negative 4 first by adding it to both sides. This gives me negative 10 times the absolute value of n divided by 4 is equal to negative 14 plus 4, which is negative 10. Then I need to get rid of the negative 10 on the left by dividing both sides by negative 10. The 10s will cancel, and I have the absolute value of n divided by 4 is equal to 1. Now, if you look at the beginning of the problem where everything's written in black, I have negative 10 times the absolute value of n over 4 minus 4 is equal to negative 14. If you looked at this equation and you said, oh, the absolute value is equal to a negative number, I can't solve it, no solution. Well, you're right in knowing that an absolute value cannot equal a negative number, but you have to move every single piece over to the other side of the equal sign before you can make that assumption that, oh, it's negative. So like what we did here is we have the absolute value, now it equals a positive number, and I can solve this problem. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that. You need to move your pieces before you decide whether or not you can actually solve. So now to solve, we have n over 4 is equal to 1. N over 4 is equal to negative 1. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 4. N is going to equal positive 4. And n is going to equal negative 4. On the last example, example 4, I have 9 times the absolute value of 10p minus 2 minus 6 equals 12. So again, I need to make sure that my absolute value is completely by itself. I'm going to start by adding 6 to both sides. I have 9 times the absolute value of 10p minus 2 is equal to 18. I'm going to divide both sides by 9. Then I have the absolute value of 10p minus 2 is equal to 2. I'm going to rewrite this as two equations. 10p minus 2 equals positive 2. 10p minus 2 equals negative 2. And I'm going to solve. I'm going to start by adding 2 to both sides of this equation. 10p equals 4. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 10. And I'm going to have p equals 4 over 10. You need to make sure that if you can reduce, that you do, which we can. These are both even numbers. I can divide them both by 2, and I end up with p equals 2 over 5 for my first answer. In the second problem, I have to add 2, and I have 10p equals 0. If I divide both sides by 10, I get p equals 0. And this is how you solve absolute value equations.